Hello everyone, welcome back to Newsroom. I'm Chelsea Smith. This is your Middle East U.S. entertainment news here on YouTube. I air on Fridays. I bring you the latest on reforms and economics based on reports put out by the Middle East news media outlets. I do this weekly review and it's based off my interest. Thank you everyone for joining me. Over the last few weeks, Newsroom was closed down for a short period of time so that way we could reboot our systems and get our security updated. This week we will return to a normal broadcast schedule. Thank you everyone who held tight through those very difficult times. We are officially back. Let's take a look at this week's headlines. Economy News Baghdad reports the financial advisor to the Prime Minister, Malzer Mohammed Shalay, confirms Thursday that the merit of the general budget law for the year 2023 are complete, while indicating the possibility of approving the 2022 budget immediately if the legislative environment allows it. Shalay told official news agencies the provisions of Chapter 3 of the amended Federal Financial Management Law No. 6 of 2019 are concerned with preparing and approving the legislative rule for the federal general budget law for the next year, which begins its work at the beginning of July of each year by initiating preparations for estimating expenditures for revenues and managing the deficit and surplus of the draft federal budget law for the coming year. He pointed out that according to the timeline, the draft law and the strategies attached to it for the next 3 years must be discussed in the Ministerial Council of Economy in the first month of September, and the file is referred to the Council of Ministers for approval of the draft general budget law and its appendix, and then presented to the integrated manner to the legislators in the House of Representatives in the month of October of each year in order to vote on it to legislate it. He also continued on saying that there is a draft and an integrated project for the budget for the year 2022 that can be legislated immediately if the legislative environment allows it, noting that the merit of the general budget law for the year 2023 are too large extent complete for some simple legal adjustments in the matter of managing the surplus through the fund. The sovereignty stipulated in Article 19 of the Effective Financial Management Law, as well as an agreement on the price of the barrel of oil for the purpose of calculating the return from it in the year 2023, in light of the development of energy markets and demand for oil in the world. He then pointed out that oil revenues constitute for more than 90% of the total public revenues in the budget, as well as what to expect of the non-oil revenues in the next fiscal year. Shafak News then reports the Iraqi authorities announced yesterday that the capital Baghdad will host a cybersecurity and counterterrorism exhibition, the first of its kind in the Middle East and North Africa. An official source told Shafak News agency under the patronage of the Prime Minister Mustafa al-Kazimi, under the supervision of the National Security Advisor, and with the support of anti-terrorism services, anti-terrorism special operations, and security exhibitions, the ATSO Iraq 2022 is being held on the grounds of the Baghdad International Fair. It is the second session for the period from September 4th through the 7th this year. The source indicated that the exhibition is the first of its kind in the Middle East and North Africa and aims to transfer modern global technology and access to the latest equipment, technologies, and intelligence system specializing in combating terrorism, special operations, and cybersecurity, and exchanging security and intelligence experiences with international companies participating in the exhibition in order to keep pace with the latest advanced systems and provide state and its sector with everything they need to develop their capabilities in this field. Shafak News reports the Federal Supreme Court, the highest judicial authority in Iraq, failed for the third time in a row this week to issue a ruling in the case of dissolving the House of Representatives. A judicial source told Shafak News agency that the federal court issues its session in the case of dissolving the House of Representatives and sets next Wednesday as a date for issuing the decision. The federal court was scheduled to issue its ruling in case on Wednesday, August 31st, but it was postponed to the first day of the month of September. The leader of the Souders movement, Muqtada al-Souders, has called on the Supreme Judicial Council to dissolve Parliament within a period not exceeding the 20th of this month, and is citing the President of the Republic to set a date for his early elections, but the council postponed al-Souders' request to dissolve Parliament, saying he does not have authority. The content of the lawsuit deals with the accusations of failing to elect a president of the republic and violating the constitutional deadline for forming a new government, and I'll keep you updated with that decision. Shafak News Agency reports on Wednesday that the U.S. President Joe Biden calls the Iraqi leader to engage in national dialogue, the development of roadmaps in order to get out of the current blockage. This came during a phone call he made with the Iraqi Prime Minister Mustafa al-Kazimi, according to the statement by Shafak News Agency. Al-Kazimi's office said Al-Kazimi and Biden discussed the latest developments in the situation in Iraq after the recent events. During the call, Biden expressed the United States' support for the independent and sovereign Iraq, as set out in the Strategic Framework Agreement between the United States and Iraq. Biden praised Al-Kazimi's role and his wise leadership during the escalation of the political tensions and the recent security events in the country. And he also praised the performance of the Iraqi security forces while offering his condolences to the families of the martyrs of Iraq. Biden called on all Iraqi leaders to engage in national dialogue, to lay out roadmaps to get out of the current blockage in accordance with the Constitution and laws of Iraq. Shafak News reports a source in the Ministry of Finance stated that the Kyrgyzstan regional government on Tuesday said that the ministry will start distributing the salaries of employees and workers in the public sector for the month of August, starting from the beginning of September. A source in the Ministry of Finance told Shafak News Agency that August salaries will be distributed from September 1st to the 22nd. The source added that the process of distributing salaries for the month of August was left with nothing but the signatures of the Minister of Finance. The Minister of Finance in the Kyrgyzstan region government was supposed to start distributing those salaries of the employees and workers with a daily wage set for the 25th of each month, but the decision was not implemented and the process is delayed monthly. Shafak News reports the Secretary General of the United Nations calls on all parties to calm down and enter into a political dialogue. This came after many protest the Green Zone in Iraq. Antonio Guterres said in a press statement followed by Shafak News Agency, "I am followed with concerns of the ongoing protests in Iraq and the reports of casualties, and I call for the calm and restraint." Guterres urges all parties in Iraq to calm down and to urgently engage in peaceful dialogue on the political process. Earlier this week, the leader of the Souders movement, Muqtada al-Souders, announced his retirement from political work and the closure of all political, media, and social institutions associated with him. He also stressed to his followers not to use his name or the name of movement in any political or media activity. As a result, the Green Zone in the capital, Baghdad, and the government institutions in a number of southern province witnessed the start of what the Souders calls the 0 hour, when they turn their sit-ins into storming of the Republican Palace and the buildings of several government institutions and the announcement of the general alarm. So far, 5 demonstrators have fallen victim, while more than 50 others, including members of the Iraqi security forces, have been injured as a result of the clashes that took place inside of Green Zone during anti-riot attempt to break up the Souders protest in the government palace. And lastly, some good news out of Iraq. The Central Bank of Iraq, the CBI, reportedly expects the cash reserves to reach $90 billion by the end of this year, up from about $80 billion currently. The CBI Deputy Governor Ammar Khalaf told Iraqi news agency that the increases is from a result in higher oil prices. He added that the gold reserves have increased by about 30 tons to more than 131 tons. And you've been watching Newsroom Weekly Review. I'm Chella Smith, your Middle East U.S. entertainment news on reforms and economics, bringing you the latest Dinar news without having to keep up with all the different outlets. I'm here on YouTube every Friday, so don't forget to subscribe, and if you like my content, smash the like button. I have opened up a new Telegram group under Newsroom Chella Smith, where you can review all my shows and appearances, as well as how I'm preparing to do my exchange. You can find that link in the community chat here on YouTube by following the instructions to the new OpenEDU 102 chat. Now, I have closed down the OpenEDU 101 group due to security concerns, but the new group is completely fine, where you can join me and our newsroom family on Mondays or Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for Zoom calls. This month we have some really special guests that'll be on the calls. On the 7th we have Dr. Lamar. On the 12th, we have Carolyn Marine. She is an expert in psychosomatic therapy. On September 19th, we have Mr. Trumptastic. He is a banker and with wealth management. And then on September 28th, we have a state nationalist community guest, Ben Barlow. So you don't want to miss out on those calls. Again, if you miss those calls, you can join us on Patreon. I hope you guys have enjoyed this week's newsroom. Again, I'd like to apologize for all the confusion here in newsroom over the last few weeks while we were trying to get things taken care of, but this studio was completely complicated. But now everything's back up and running. Have a great weekend, everyone. It's good to be back. Take care.